All right, everyone, we're gonna get started. I am dropping the attendance poll again in the chat. Please fill that out if you want to be marked as attended. And if if you can't see the presentation, just let us know in the chat and we'll try to adjust. All right, well, happy Thursday. Make sure that your mic is muted as always. Please direct any questions to our chat. There will be some time for questions to be asked during the presentation. Project wait times currently, application and letter of intent about 3 to 4 weeks. DGPA review is about 1 to 2 weeks. Final documentation review, 3 weeks. Inspections, 2 to 3 weeks. And demo shutdown times are depending on location, but 3 months on average. Again, please fill out the attendance poll in the chat so that we can mark you as attended. Upcoming meetings. These are, the normal ones. General is next month, Thursday, April 17th. That's mandatory for all participating contractors. Technical will be the next meeting, May 15th, and then another admin meeting on June 19th. Technical and admin are mandatory for all new or newly registered participating contractors. And then a quick safety moment. We've had some, high risk of fire days over the past week in Austin. High winds, dry. So just some safety tips for fire prevention. Indoor, clear out any clutter from your home, especially in the hallways and stairways. Check your smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors. Don't use electrical appliances or tools with frayed cords. It's a great time to clean your dryer vent and lid trap. Confirm your fire extinguishers work and replace if expired. Outdoor, make sure to check your gas grill for rust, worn parts, grease, and other debris. Turn off or put out fires before you leave the yard. Trim any trees or bushes that are close to your home. And then please welcome Ashley. Ashley will be working on the CRS team as a project manager. She has experience in both residential and commercial solar on the contractor and asset management side. In her free time, Ashley rides horses, goes hiking and camping, cooks and crochets. And here's a lovely picture of her and her horse. Ashley, if you want to unmute and just say hello.
Yeah, hi everybody. It's really good to be here. I've been in solar in Austin for like 6 years now, and I'm sure I've worked with several of you that are here. So hello, good morning.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Ruby.
All right, then I'll turn it over to Athena.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. All right, so solar and Austin Energy bill credits and incentive programs. Okay, so I'm going to go over our bill credit system and our incentive program. So for all solar customers, minus our standard offer customers, you all will be on the value of solar. This is an on-bill credit that you don't need to apply for, or your customers don't need to apply for. The big thing about our bill credits within Austin Energy territory is that it is not net metering. And then for our incentive programs, this is by application only. So we've got residential, commercial, and multifamily options. But again, this is by application only. So you all as participating contractors will be the ones applying for these incentives on your customers' behalf. All right, so how do these bill credits work? So the value of solar, or VOS is what we call it. It's not net metering. What it is that your customers will be credited 100% of their solar production at the solar value of solar rate. but they're also charged for their on-site consumption. So it doesn't matter if it's going to the grid or if they're using it on-site, they're going to be charged for all consumption at the regular non-solar rates. So we still do want to emphasize that energy efficiency is something that they can work on if they're seeing their bills are too high, things like that. But yes, the value of solar rate is assessed every year, but we are only able to change it every 3 years. So currently for residential and commercial under 1 megawatt, it's at 9.91 cents per kWh. Over 1 megawatt, it's about 7.24 cents per kWh. All right, so participating solar contractors must educate your customers on the VOS bill credit. Please make sure that you're emphasizing again that it's not net metering, it's value of solar. And then anything that you have on your contracts and things like that. If you do mention net metering, like it's verboten. We have a bunch of resources where you can educate your customer on the VOS. Our website, on our rates page, we have information there. Our solar education course, we have information within that course. It's again on our website. And then our bill explainer. It's basically just an example of a bill, what your bill will look like. So please share those resources with your customers. All right, so now getting into our program. So we have our residential solar rebate program, and it is for systems 3 kW and above. This is a flat rate fee, incentive, $2,500. And it's going to be at the end of the project is when your customer will get their incentive check. Also, we have an option for multifamily for regular and then nonprofit buildings. And this is calculated as the system size times the rebate level. And then, excuse me, again, it is a one-time check at the end of the project. Okay, so for our commercial, we have two programs. It is capacity-based and then performance-based. For our capacity-based, it's the smaller systems and the nonprofits. And so for the rebate level, it's 70 cents for nonprofits, 50 cents for the small businesses. We do have incentive caps for these guys, and this is a one-time check at the end of the project. The rebate calculation is the system size times the rebate level. And then we have for our larger program or larger system sizes, performance-based incentive, medium, large, and extra large, and 8, 6, and 4 cents per kWh. This program is an on-bill credit for 5 years, and the way that we calculate that payment is the monthly production times the rebate level, and this can be paid out no more than every 6 months. And this, yes, I said this, it's an on-bill credit. So those are our two commercial programs. All right, so a quick update on what we have now for our CBI Tier 4, we're about 2%, and then commercial PBI Tier 2, we're at 24%. I just want to give you guys a little bit of info. Projects that do not have a contract approved and approved DGPA are not going to be approved. The LOI, letter of intent to fund, the incentive, it's going to be granted once all those documents are reviewed and approved. So we're not going to be able to grant any LOIs before any of those documents are checked out. So we are going to have to look at them. So once you submit it, we'll do a look through. If we need any updates, we'll let you know. Once it's approved, then you'll receive that LOI. Please wait until you install. So you have to receive this LOI before you install. If you do it before you or after you install, we won't guarantee the fundings. The other thing about the LOI is that if the project increases, we know that things change. So if the system size increases, that LOI number is what we're held to. So it cannot go over that LOI amount. All right. So our new program, Commercial Standard Offer, it is a rate and a program. So for Commercial Standard Offer, it's for system sizes larger than 50 kW. You'll see here incentive is 0 because this is not an incentive program, it is a rate. So you'll see the solar standard offer rate, 11.24 cents per kWh, or for the larger systems, 8.41 cents per kWh. So the way that we pay these out is to the system owner no more than 3 months. And then the calculation is the system generation times the prevailing rate. So for our standard offer program, it's basically enables commercial property owners to host community solar arrays. Austin Energy pays solar system owners a rate per kWh for energy that they produced net of the electric charges. The payment rate is based on Austin Energy's avoided cost. And in the program, Austin Energy, customers are credited for exported solar that they produce. You have to participate in the solar standard offer program to be eligible for the solar standard offer rate. Awesome. All right. All right. So with that, I will hand it back off to Ruby. Thank you.
Thanks, Athena. All right, so what do I need to become a participating solar contractor? If you are new here, you will need to register to be a City of Austin vendor. Once you have that vendor number, you can then register to be a participating contractor through EECP. Some required documents you'll need: solar contractor handbook that needs to be signed, our code of conduct needs to be signed, and your electrical contractor license, workers' comp, liability, and auto insurance. You'll need to attend our technical meeting and admin meeting, and then existing participating contractors need to attend our general meeting every quarter. And any questions about new registrations, please direct them to solar at austinenergy.com. We're happy to write out those instructions and give you the correct links. For ongoing contractor requirements, in order to maintain participating contractor status, these all need to be current: insurance documents, program documents, general contractor meeting attendance, consistent projects, adherence to compliance, and keep employee and resource inbox emails up to date and comply with FACTA. What is FACTA? FACTA is a federal act mandating businesses and individuals to take appropriate security measures to protect customer information against unauthorized access to or use of the information. Some examples of FACTA data: name, social security number, phone number, physical address, email address. Some security measure examples include truncating credit and debit card numbers, limiting access of customer information, and creating an environment where the data is safe. Austin Energy and its vendors and contractors are responsible for FACTA compliance. Any questions, please drop them in the chat. All right, what's the installation process in Austin? So first, you'll need to submit an enrollment or rebate application that is submitted through EECP. To do that, you will need a solar education reference number. Customers are required to take our solar ed course. You'll need a customer agreement form, system layout, and then you will submit a permit through ABC. Once you have your LOI or rebate confirmation letter and your permit, you can then install. It's very important that you have that LOI or rebate confirmation letter before installing the system. Make sure to schedule any needed rough inspections, pre-construction meetings, and meter variance approvals will be submitted. For inspection, please submit an inspection request form to get that scheduled. You have to confirm that the permit is paid in full. Once you pass final inspection, metering will, the meter will be installed 5 to 10 business days after passing the final. Once the meter is installed, you can energize the system. That's our PTO process. For the enrollment closure, in EACP, QA will need to be closed, and any QA corrections will need to be completed on your end. We will then initiate payment, and rebate checks get delivered to customers about 4 to 6 weeks after closure. Just to note, the City of Austin Development Services Department owns the permitting process for solar. For commercial projects over 500 kilowatts, you'll need to fill out an interconnection application and a DGPA application. These are both found on our website. You'll need to provide electrical drawings and insurance documents as well. As always, if you have any questions about these documents, you can email us at solar@.
All right, rebate program documents, the guidelines, and our customer agreement form. Okay, so we have two guiding docs that we refer to frequently, our program guidelines, which the purpose of is just to outline the procedures and qualifications for our Austin Energy rebates. These includes eligibility and funding, participating contractor obligations, installation requirements, and all the required documents. For our CAF, this is just so that everybody's on page with what the project is. So Austin Energy, you all as the contractors, and then the customer. This has customer information, contractor information, project information, and then also rebate information. So all of those things are going to be on the CAF, and then everybody just needs to be on the same page on what's going on. You can find all of these on our online portal, EECP. So a couple of the questions that we get frequently from our guidelines are just so participating solar contractors are required to release customers of their contractual obligations upon request without a penalty before the LOI or the confirmation letter. Also, subcontractors are permitted, but the participating contractor must be the one that holds the contract with the customer, and they have to be the one that pulls all the permits. And then the other thing is that systems have to be in a site where they get a minimum average TSRF of 75%. We really do not want to incentivize shady arrays. So like that's a hard stop, y'all. Like make sure that you're hitting that 75%. All right, so questions about our CAF. So this is our residential CAF. And it is, we do make sure that these lines are initialed. So we're not looking for checks or X's. We really do want to make sure that that stuff is initialed. And then for subcontracts, again, they are allowed, but they have to be disclosed on this document. For residential, customers are required to take the Solar Ed course and pass the exam before they sign this document. So make sure that they have all the information necessary before signing this. We do allow systems that are more than 100% estimated production of the customer's consumption. You just need to sign the oversizing waiver. So on the bottom of that page, there's the oversizing waiver. Just please indicate like maybe they just installed a new EV charger or something like that. We just need to know why there is a difference there. So just make sure that it's noted in the CAF. For our commercial, so again, same thing. If there's a primary contractor, they must sign in addition to the customer. And then for our D rate, so this is how we calculate it. The kWAC is equal to 0.83 times the DC size. So that's how we're getting our numbers here. That's the calculation that we use in EECP. And then the last thing is that the incentive amount must match the EECP amount. So EECP is our rebate portal, and it does its calculations. Please make sure that they're matching. If for any reason you are so sure that your numbers are right and our numbers are wrong, please reach out to us and we can talk it through. But what we do when we do our reviews is we're matching our calculations and your calculations. All right, so those are the forms. Does anybody have any questions? Let me look at the chat. Login is there. Okay, I see the inspection is from AE. Is there a final inspection needed from the city as well? Okay, and then Megan replied and said only inside the city and for other EP types, non-auxiliary power electrical permits, repair, upgrade, home builder, special inspections, etc. And then city inspections are needed for batteries and or shutdowns, but those inspections all occur under the repair, upgrade, remodel permit. Great question, and thank you for asking or answering, Megan. All right, okay, so let's move on. I don't see anything else in the chat, but if you do have questions, just put them in there. Okay, how to process enrollments using EECP. All right, so I've talked a lot about our rebate portal. The EECP is the Energy Efficiency Collaboration Platform. When you first log in, it looks like this, and there'll be announcements. So anything that you need to know will be there. And then the publications, that's where we have all of the documents we just reviewed. So the customer agreement form, the project guidelines. We've got a couple other things in there, some step-by-step guides. This is where you're going to be applying for rebates on your customer's behalf. And this is also where the issuing of the confirmation letters and the LOIs comes from. So EECP, once things have all been reviewed, will automatically send from EECP. Please make sure that you have a resource account on your user profile. So for like your company, we want a resource profile, but for everyone who logs in, we want their individual account. So for me, an example, Athena at austinenergy.com would be my personal login, but on my profile, I would have solar at austinenergy.com, right? So that's just kind of an example of what we're looking for here, just to make sure we have a resource account, but then as a login person, I will log in as Athena. Cool. Please make sure that you're not sharing your individual accounts. We don't want to see those. Okay, so if you're having issues logging into this portal, the most common issues we see are like insurance documentation, any of that stuff is expired, your password changes, or if you have not logged in for 30 days. If you have any login issues, please email Austin Energy ESS Contractor at austinenergy.com, and they will be able to reset those passwords for you. Or it does also automatically send you if issuance of expiration. So hopefully you guys are getting those emails and updating your insurance before you get locked out. But if you do get locked out, Austin Energy ESS Contractor at austinenergy.com. I know it's a mouthful, but that's where you're going to go to resolve those issues. And we will send this out to everyone in a PDF. So it's okay if you missed any documentation or any of the information. We'll send it out. All right. So rebate solar program for residential. So the process flow, more or less, is that we are going to start off with the customer taking the education course and passing the quiz. Once they have that, then they'll sign the CAF with you all. And once the CAF is signed, documentation is uploaded, then they will receive confirmation letter. So the customer and the contractor receive this letter. Once you have that letter, you're good to install. After installation is when the rebate check will be sent out. And just a reminder that funding will not be allocated to projects that have been installed before receiving the solar rebate confirmation letter from Austin Energy. I'm going to say that a couple of times because it is something that we are really enforcing. This is something that is like really important. So please do not install before LOI. All right, so what does it look like in EECP? So within EECP, we have workflow steps and owners to those workflow steps. So the contractor owns the first part of it. They open the application and then they'll put in the documentation, and they will also put in that reference number, that enrollment number for the solar education course. We also want to see a layout. And then fill out the measures page with information about the project. After that, we'll do a pre-inspection where Austin Energy is just going to review everything, and if everything looks good, we send out the solar confirmation letter. After the solar confirmation letter is sent out, you're good to install, and then the workflow step installation is where you will upload any change orders and the final invoice. Once that step is closed out, please make sure that you request an inspection, and this is outside of EECP. So outside of EECP, you will request your inspection. You can go to austinenergy.com/solar inspections and request it there. After you pass final inspection, then there'll be a post inspection where we're verifying that all the system sizes and things match our system logs. We'll do a QA review of the final documentation. If there's any corrections, we'll kick it back so you all can make some corrections. Please make sure that you're doing those in a timely manner, just because these are one of the final steps to getting your customer their check. So if we're waiting on you for some things, that means that your customer is also waiting on you for some things. But once those are all cleaned up, then we get to issue that rebate check. Okay, so that was residential. Now for commercial, we have a little bit of a different process. For the beginning, we have the customer agreement form. And then between that, we have an encumbrance process. So after we get our customer agreement form and our initial documentation, we give you guys 180 days to get the contract and DGPA approved. So this contract will have like the final incentive amount if you want to, and all of the DGPA is approved. If it's over 76 K per year, then if the incentive is over 76 K per year, then City Council needs to approve it. But once we get that approval, then we can give out that letter of intent to fund. So the LOI, once you receive it, you're good to install. All right. Okay, so for commercial, again, what does it look like in EECP? We've got workflow steps. So the same for residential as commercial, the first thing to do, contractor opens the application. You guys are gonna upload all the first required docs, then you'll get your encumbrance, then you'll upload your contract and DGPA. This is where you put in information about the project in the measures page. The next step is that council approval, the RCA step. And then once we move to that, we'll get a pre-inspection, review all the docs now that we have it all. And this is the step where you'll get the LOI. Now you can start to install. So the funding is secured. Now you can install. Once you install everything, you'll upload a final invoice. If things change, again, put that information there. And then once it's installed, you can call for a final inspection. And again, this is outside of EECP where you'll call for final inspection. And once that's closed out, we'll do a post inspection. This is where we verify the system size, again, making sure that our logs match ECP, match what you put in there. We'll do a QA review. If there needs corrections, we'll do that loop. And then at the end, depending on which program, either the incentive will start on the bill or the check will be mailed. So that's what the flow is in ECP for our commercial projects. All right, so what does EECP look like and how do you process a residential enrollment? Okay, so for residential enrollments, the application page looks like this. This is where you'll put in the reference number, your construction type, if there's energy storage, if you're adding to an existing system, account information, customer information, and premise ID. So you're going to go through and add that information in. And then if you scroll down, you'll have more information about the applicant and the account holder. If they're different, the person applying for the rebate needs to either be on the TCAD or on the account. So they're listed as the property owner on TCAD. If you're a developer, for new build, you can be the applicant. You just have to upload a W-9. And then for the mailing address, just make sure that that is correct because that's where the check's going to go. So if it's the same as the installation address, that's cool. If it's not, just do a double check, make sure that that's in there correctly. All right, so once you get down to the application page, again, making sure that the payee is the account holder, an authorized user, a TCAD verified property owner, or the developer with that W-9. Once you have that information there, then please save it. And then just do a double check that all the signatures and names on the documents are consistent. They match with TCAD if they need to be. Then you'll upload those documents. So documents can be the CAF, the layout, a shade analysis if you need one, project timeline, extension requests, things like that. Just a quick note though that documents cannot be deleted. So if you're working on multiple projects, make sure you're doing an alignment, check the addresses so you're uploading the right document to the right rebate. Cool. Just a quick note on layouts. So this is an example of what we're looking for in terms of layouts. The customer name and the installation address needs to be there. Please make sure that there's details about modules, inverters, the azimuth and the pitch. Those things need to match what you put in EECP. So make sure that they all look cohesive. Your NABCEP cert, and then one more thing about installation addresses, if there's a unit number like A and B, things like that, make sure that that's on the layout. If you're doing both A and B, again, enrollment A with all of the A's, enrollment B with all of the B's, just so that we're all on the same page. Once you fill out those documents, upload them, everything like that, you're going to go to the measures page, and this is where you're going to input all that information that was on the layout into EECP. And the way that you activate this page is by clicking on the white space. We want to see the total solar plus the battery if there is one. If you can group all the similar arrays that have the same tilt and azimuth, so like they can all be as one orientation, just make sure that the minimum array tilt is 5 degrees. And then please put in the contractor estimated annual generation as it is on the CAF, and then also the customer annual consumption, kWh, as it is on the CAF. Once you're good, you can hit process. There are some warnings that will pop up if for any reason things are awry. I mentioned this earlier, but the TSRF needs to be 75%. If your production is too high, over 108, or it's too low, or sorry, yeah, it's over 110, we're going to get that error. This is where you have that oversized consumption waiver. We want to see that. So it is override. The TSRF is a non-negotiable. The overproduction can be negotiated. We just need to see documentation. If the dollar amount is high and batteries are not included, you will also get a warning. Please read them, and to get out of the page, you just click cancel, and that'll let you go back and fix what you need to fix. Okay, so here's what I was talking about in terms of the high watt dollar per watt. So if you have batteries and you forgot to say that it was batteries, it'll get a warning. That just gives you like an option to go back and fix an update to make sure that you included that there are batteries on the project. And that the cost includes that. So that's what we're looking for there. If your dollar per watt is high, but you don't include batteries, you can click OK and move forward. So once we review these things, there is a corrections process. Sometimes things don't match, or we just review it and we need some more information. We're going to put the application on application incomplete is the reason code. This is automatically going to send the contractor an email asking them to make changes. We will put notes in there and let you know what needs to be updated, and that way we can see those changes. Once you all make those changes within EECP, please change the reason code to requested updates complete. Once it's in requested updates complete, then an automatic email will be sent to us so that we can re-review. So an application is submitted, or sorry, successfully submitted if you receive the rebate confirmation letter or the LOI. So just a quick description, differentiation, solar rebate confirmation letter is for our residential program and the LOI is for the commercial program. So those are the two, that's why we keep saying those if you all are confused. Those are the differences here. This is an example of a residential where you'll see in that box there, this is us committing to that funding. Okay, any questions? Let me look at the chat. Hold on. Can a commercial customer receive a rebate if they own the solar system but not the building it is installed on? Okay, yeah, thank you, Megan. You're on it in the chat. So look into the standard offer program, and that might be something that is covers this scenario. Cool. And then Megan also let us know that shutdown outside of city limits occurs the same way. However, the city inspection requirement does not exist. If you're not in the city limits, then you don't have to, they don't have jurisdiction there. Cool. All right, thank you, Megan.
I was going to say there's one more from Jamaica that I wasn't quite sure how to answer. I think it's via email, but she asks, how will we know if the rebate was denied?
So we will go, EECP automatically sends you information on what is an issue with the rebate. And so we'll try to resolve those things within EECP. And if there are like huge issues, I might email you with screenshots. Because we want to give you guys, we want our customers to get these rebates. So there is we'll work with you to make sure that like, okay, maybe this program is not for you, but that program is for you. We'll get it going. So I don't know that there will ever be a denied, but there might be new options. So we're always going to work with you to make sure that your customer gets that rebate. I know that was a kind of convoluted answer. I'm not going to say that it's never going to get denied, but there are definitely pathways. Sorry, Jamaica, does that answer your question? Yes, thank you. Okay, awesome. Great. And then so I did see that the email stelmodistribution@austenergy.com is correct. So if you're looking for shutdowns, thank you, Megan, on that one. If a project is outside of city limits, it does not need a shutdown inspection to be turned on. And then the AE portion of the shutdown is still required. So you still need to reach out to St. Elmo. However, the additional city inspection you scheduled is not needed. And then Patrick asks, sorry if it was discussed earlier, given the TSRF and tilt restrictions, could a customer install a PV array on the north facing roof with a tilt greater or equal to 5 degrees, but with a roof with a TSRF of 75 or greater? So like long story short, the whole array needs to be at 75%. So we like, as long as you're getting that 75 total, that's what we're looking for. So and again, like EECP will automatically calculate it based off of PV watts. So if you're looking in there and you type in all of your information, it should give you like the TSRF at the bottom of the measures page. And so that is what we're looking for here. Okay, and then Jamaica. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and move on, but please keep asking questions in the chat. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Athena. I'll take it over from here. So solar rebate program compliance. And sorry guys, because this text is teeny tiny for me on the screen real quick, so I'm not sure why that's happening, but anyway, let me try to make this a little bit bigger. So contractor sales proposals and customer signatures, do's and don'ts. What you want to do is calculate that payback using value of solar credits. Please note that it's only a credit. It is not a cash value. So they can't get refunds on it if they move properties or anything like that. That's going to stay attached to the bill. It is also subject to change, as Athena mentioned earlier, with utility rate evaluation, which happens every year, but every 3 years is when that number gets updated. So I think 2026 is the next time we're going to look at updating that VOS rate. For the investment tax credit, please do encourage customers to seek advice on eligibility. but don't include discounts and incentives on your eligibility costs, especially if they're worked back into the finance rates. And please don't guarantee that eligibility of the tax credit either. We obviously are not tax consultants here. Unless you are, if you're a CPA, you know, raise your hand maybe. But other than that, we don't want to be giving those tax recommendations. Alrighty, now one more, customer signatures. Do get handwritten signatures and use verifiable tracking methods, so DocuSign or other online electronic signatures. Do also provide a new signature if there are changes to the documents. We've seen this a lot with CAFs, where CAFs get updated. And then you've still got the same signature and date down at the bottom, which doesn't make any sense. If you alter info after signing a doc, you need to re-sign that doc. So in that same vein, don't backdate forms or have the customer sign document before you fill in the info. Again, we can find this stuff, and it gets really awkward, and we want to just avoid that conversation altogether. So please do get those signatures. Make sure that you're expressing the right total cost of that system to your customers, including the value of solar credits and ITC. But don't guarantee that ITC, and then don't use net metering or anything that guarantees the value of solar credit. As that's something that we want to make sure we're communicating effectively. All right, looking at shade analysis requirements. So your shade analysis should include a layout that displays where each measurement was taken. Again, if you've got several arrays, make sure that all of the arrays have been measured. Or drone flight path, and which identifies any object emitted from the report. Make sure it also includes any tilts and azimuths. These should also match the EECP measures. Shade access and total solar resource fraction measurements at each location, and then the average TSRF for the entire roof. And then finally, the kilowatt hour production of the system. To avoid warnings in this category, your average TSRF should be above 75%, again, for the total system. So take the average of all of them to get that 75% or above, ideally. And then, of course, if we do ask for it, please do provide that shade analysis within 10 business days of request. That just makes sure that we don't have any project delays and holdups, especially at the beginning when we're trying to just get everything into the system and get things moving. All right, one thing to note are the Better Builder certification standards. This is something City of Austin uses on its projects and sites currently, and something that Austin Energy is also looking at adopting. So we've got certification standards here from 2023 to 24. I won't read through all of these, but we can provide a link if you guys are curious about it, or of course you can always look up Better Builder certification standards. But just keep in mind that we do want you guys to be compliant with all of these requirements here. Alrighty, the Solar Compliance Contractor Handbook. So you guys probably recognize this. Hopefully you all recognize this. We just sent out a recent fiscal year 25 updated Solar Contractor Handbook. So hopefully everybody on this call has signed that and sent it back. I'm just going to reiterate for another time, because again, I know that Athena said this a couple times already, but it's really, really important that you make sure not to install before the application has received approval. Particularly on commercial projects, this can be a huge imposition if you've got, work already done, or the install partially done, or work that's, on the roof or on the wall already, and then you're asking for a rebate. It's really tough for us to retroactively consider your application for approval if you've already started working on that job. So please don't do that. Just make sure you get that LOI and or approval for the rebate application prior to doing any of that work. Just so everything is on the up and up, and nothing is rendered ineligible. All right, I'm going to pause here for just a minute for questions. I don't see any new ones in the chat though, so I may just keep going. Any questions on any of that? All right. I don't see any, so I think I'm going to pass it back over to Athena.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. All right, so how do process enrollments the installation stage? So after you submit your application, the next time that you all will have some to-do tasks will be in the installation stage. So again, click on that white space to activate those. Oh, you can't. How about this? Athena's audio is too low. Oh no, better? Okay, thank you all. Apologies. So Basically, after your application is reviewed and approved, the next time you guys will see EECP or will be able to edit an EECP is this installation workflow step. And to make changes, please just click on the white space and that'll activate the fields. This is your last chance to do any updates on the measures at your end. So if in the time that you submitted the application versus now, and there's any changes, you're gonna add them here. You'll also upload your invoice, and what we're looking for is we want to see company name, the installation address. Again, if there's a unit, please put that unit in there. Whoever signed the CAF will also need to sign the invoice, so we're also looking for a match there. The date of the signing, it should be after the installation is complete, so just make sure that you're paying attention to those installation dates. We do also want to see the make, model, quantity of the solar modules and the inverters and that total final project cost. And then the last thing is the 10-year warranty. That one we do want to see for sure. So then how to request inspections and process EECP enrollments. This one is for Megan. Back to you, Megan.
I'll take it back. Thanks, Athena. Alrighty, so, oh, and just kidding, sorry. Where did that go? Should have taken control before that happened. Give me a sec. Awesome, thank you. Okay, there we go. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Alrighty, so requesting an inspection. I'm calling this the old process, although it's also the existing process. So keep in mind, again, we'll let you guys know on these calls and via email if and when the solar inspection request form is going to go away. It's still here for now. It's not going anywhere just yet. So just keep in mind, this is still an existing process if this is something you're more comfortable with. But please do start looking at the new process so that you can get familiarity there as well. So via this new old process, you'll use that inspection request form. You can Google solar inspections, Austin Energy, and this will be the first thing that pops up. This is for solar shingles or battery options for battery storage projects. Please do fill out all of the required and conditionally required fields. Once you submit this, we will receive the data. You'll also get an email telling you that you submitted it correctly. We will schedule your inspections and then send notifications at each step of that inspections process. So once your permitting looks good and we've approved it for inspection, you'll get a notification there. Once it is scheduled, you'll get another notification that gives you that time and date. Whether or not it passes or fails, you'll get that result. And then once you get that meter installed and get PTO, you'll also get an email at that point. If Austin Energy is not the service provider, request the inspection through the Austin Build and Connect portal on the corresponding electrical permit. That has always been true. That's existing process. But obviously, if we're not your service provider, your customer service provider, we're not going to be the ones doing that inspection. Keep in mind that any rebated contractors need to maintain a pass rate of at least 70% to remain in the participating contractors program. And also to only request inspections after the work is completed. If you request inspections prior, that's a failed inspection and will be noted on your inspection records. All right, so what does the new process look like then? So requesting inspections via the new process, you can do this on the ABNC portal. You'll go to your auxiliary power electrical permit, navigate over to my inspections, and then request it using this form here. So on the left-hand side there, you would select the permit number and inspection type, add details about that date. So when you're requesting, and then add details about that inspection, of course. Always add your point of contact notes there for the day of the inspection so that our inspectors can get a hold of your team and make sure that they're meeting on site. Again, we already went through correspondence, so I won't go through there, but I'll just note here the inspection request types are pre-wire, roughs, pre-cons, final solar inspections. Keep in mind that for residential projects, the only required inspection is that final solar inspection. And once that passes, you should get that PV meter. Your permit should move to final status, and then you have PTO. Other types of inspections that are listed here are required in other cases. So if you've got a pre-wire only permit, then you'll do that pre-wire instead of a final, but you could also call for final. Essentially, those are the same thing in that case. Rough inspections, of course, are similar to pre-wires. However, we're looking at conduit before it gets buried on an existing solar project. So if you've got solar capacity, You'll request a rough if you're going to bury any of that wiring or electrical work, and we need to see it before you do. Pre-construction meetings are required for commercial projects at the very, very beginning of the project before you've added anything to the wall. They are optional for residential projects. However, they can be really, really helpful if you guys are looking to improve your pass rates, then please do request those pre-cons and we'll get an inspector to meet with you on site. All right, so again, I've got that listed there as March 2025 is when we expect to roll off Smartsheet. I'm kind of leaving that here for now. However, we'll continue to use this into the future. So please just reach out if you've got questions about that. Alrighty, a little bit more of the new process. So again, I've listed the website here. So ABC portal is where you'll go. You'll navigate to that My Inspections tab at the top of the page. Select the permits for which you need the inspection, and then be sure to add those contact details and anything else that would be relevant for us when scheduling that appointment. Just know once submitted, we will receive that request within our permitting system and schedule the inspection on the permit. Once it's assigned, you'll see a date and an inspector's name there. So currently in the system, it is doing some weird things with that display. So if you don't see an inspector's name there, if you see it assigned to, electrical special inspections, for example, just know that it's not yet scheduled because again, you'll have that date, you'll have that email with the time and date, and you'll have an inspector's name listed there on the portal whenever it is scheduled. Alrighty, so existing submission errors for requesting an inspection. We do continue to see a little bit of a distinction, or not a distinction rather, between rough-ins and pre-wires. Again, the big difference there is capacity. If you have capacity, solar capacity or battery capacity, that's going to be a rough-in. Again, if you're burying any conduit or covering it up on the walls. If you are not adding any capacity, however, you are still going to be adding or making a building solar ready, that's when you call for that pre-wire inspection only. Your contact person here should also have a phone number listed. I've seen plenty lately where there's no phone number. And while I appreciate the relationships you guys have with our inspectors, they may not always have your phone numbers. So if they don't have it, it's going to be really tricky to get a hold of you on the day of the inspection. So please do list your contact number there. Also, if you have any details about availability, please add those to the notes as well. If you've got a really specific time frame you're trying to meet with a customer, please, again, just add those to the notes. We'll do what we can to accommodate it. And we really do try to work with you guys. So hopefully you can add as much detail there as possible, and we'll work with you to get that into the schedule. All right, another issue that we come across from time to time are permitting errors. So the very first step that we will take to confirm the permitting all looks good is make sure that the only electrical permit that's open for that address is the auxiliary electrical permit. We want to make sure that basically any other work that is done to the service is complete and closed and finalized before we get out there so that we can just pass the final and give you guys PTO right after. Exceptions to that are EV chargers. If you guys are doing that, as long as you've got an open permit, open repair permit for that EV charger, we're not going to worry about that. We'll still do the final inspection, or potentially other things that don't touch the system. So like if you guys are doing work on a pool, potentially it may or may not need to be closed out prior. So just keep that in mind. And whenever you're looking that up, you can look at our data portal, which allows you to search for any address. Again, this is the first step we take every time we're looking at your permits. So just go search the address before you submit that inspection request. Make sure there's no other electrical work that needs to be completed first. And then if that's correct, if that's all it looks good, then feel free to submit that inspection request. All right, and I believe Athena went through this earlier, but please do confirm the installation step is closed before requesting that inspection. If you guys have rebates that are sitting in the installation step while, or rather after your past inspection, then it's just going to hold up the project and cause delays. So please do make sure that install step is closed once you request that final inspection. All right, again, I believe this is something that we went through a few slides ago, so I'll just touch on this. But invoices should be signed by the counterparty, customer, or subcontractor. Large projects consisting of multiple interconnections and or ECP applications can have a single invoice, but please itemize the project within that invoice. So this will allow us to more easily match the totals of the invoice and ECP. So for example, if you've got multiple buildings or multiple, again, points of interconnection, if you can break those down for us, it makes it really easy to just confirm those details in ECP and make sure that rebate looks good. All right, when are engineer stamped plans needed? So if you're inside the city and you have tilted panels that are not going to be flush with the roof or that extend past the roof line, or if you're doing work on the downtown network, you will need engineer stamped plans. If you are inside or outside of the city, if you are going to do a ground mount, ESS, if it's over 500 kilowatts AC, for any commercial or DG or DR installations and utility side interconnections, you will need engineer stamped plans. This is laid out in the DIG, page 39. So if you're curious about what those requirements are, please feel free to go check them out there. Otherwise, you can always reach out to us at solarinspections@austinenergy.com with any questions. All right, who to contact? And with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Ruby, although I didn't see a question slide, so we need to pause for questions. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please just drop them in the chat and we'll try to answer them. Yeah. Also, we will be sending out this slide deck in PDF form, so you'll have access to all these links and can refer to them once we send them out. All right, some helpful links here. Got the Solar Ed course, just information on our programs, inspections, our participating contractor list. You're always welcome to go and just make sure that your contact information is updated. And if it's not, then just send us an email at solar@austinenergy. And here are some people to contact for various issues, questions, resources. That is all here. And yeah, we will stay around for a few more minutes. Just drop your questions in the chat and we will answer them as we see them. I'm also going to send the attendance link just in case anyone missed it.